as you guys know, I got an album that's coming out, and it's called Here for a Reason. Now, I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out what I was gonna name the album. Because, you know, Talib had his suggestions, I wouldn't, you know, and then I had my suggestions, my ideals, but it's like, I would be like, okay, this is gonna be the name. And then I would be like, nah, I ain't feeling that. But after that accident, that's how, you know, I came up with Here for a Reason. It was around 10:30-ish on Sunday night when I got hit, when the accident took place. And I thought I was the only one on the highway. I didn't see nobody out, you know, and and like I had wrote on Instagram, I always say a traveling mercy prayer. You know, since I was a kid, that's what I've been taught to do. And so this one particular evening, I said my prayer, but I rushed it. Kind of like when you rush your grace when you're hungry. So I rushed my prayer because I was trying to listen to some new music I had just recorded. So as I'm getting on 94, I was going 94 westbound, I felt guilty about my prayer. So I turned the music down. I'm like, okay, let me say, and I said another prayer. As soon as I literally like reached my hand to turn the music up, the dude hit me. He was going over 100 miles per hour. I was in the far left lane of the express, but I was in the express. And my car is spent twice. And like, this is the crazy experience I ever had. Like, to know, and I thought I was gonna die, you know what I mean? But the mental thing that I went through at that moment, like, it's unexplainable. I see why people have to have therapy and counseling after that, because you go through a process. So I spent the round, I hit the concrete median, flipped over twice, then landed upside down in the exit ramp. When I landed and my eyes opened, I knew I was alive still, but I didn't know what was wrong. You know, I felt pain, but I felt numb at the same time, if that makes any sense. I had a lot of blood coming out of my mouth. Blood was coming from my eye. And I didn't know at that moment, but later I found out I had bit a huge hole in my mouth. And so that's where all the blood was coming from. But I remember I was completely coherent for the whole thing. The car was smoking really bad. I thought it was gonna blow up. So I was able to move my fingers. I unbuckled myself. Now, mind you, I'm upside down. So it's kind of it's just awkward positioning anyway. I got out the seatbelt, but I couldn't move like my arms. All I could move was my legs. So I'm trying to break the window because I'm like, I need to get up out of here somehow, some way. But I was so exhausted, like, and I'm strong. You know, physically, I could pick up TVs and stuff, but I couldn't like break the window. And I'm trying, you know, and it felt like I was going in slow motion. It was the weirdest thing. I told, like when I was explaining to my mom, I was like, Mom, a calmness came over me, a calmness that I've never experienced during sleep, during church. It was just new. I told myself, I started coaching myself. I was in the car by myself and I was like, okay, Keisha, that's my name. I'm like, you finna die. And I said it to myself twice. It was like I was mentally, you know, preparing myself. And I closed my eyes because I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep. Next thing I remember is being drugged out the car from total strangers, like people. And then when I got out the car, it was like a huge crowd. So all these people who had saw him hit me, you know, they pulled over off the highway and came. And I can't remember a face. I just know it was people because I would have liked to have reached out, you know what I mean, and thanked them. But it's like, I'm like, man, some angels, you know, because they helped me and left. The guy who hit me ran into me. What's crazy about that is when I got out the car, I was able to see out of one eye. I was crying, I was in shock, but then I looked to my left and I saw another car. It wasn't as total as mine, but it was, you know, messed up. So in my mind, I knew I had been hit by somebody, but I didn't know exactly what had happened because it happened behind me. I'm thinking, I don't see nobody in the car. So I'm like, did they fly out the car? So I'm crying already. Then I just got hysterical because I'm like, I'm asking the people that's around, I'm like, oh my gosh, did they die? You know, out of that huge group of people, it was this one guy. And they all in my face. Everybody, you know, somebody trying to pat me with paper towels. It was crazy. But I specifically remember this one guy. He was just staring at me. Like everybody was like, are you okay? He was just looking with this crazy daze. but I didn't pay attention because I was, so, and I'm asking like, what happened? And then I'm like, why did he hit me? I was just going through the motions. I found out that that guy who had just been standing there, that was the guy who hit me. He lied to the police and said that he made up some crazy story like somebody hit him and that made him hit me, or somebody hit both of us, something crazy. But, I just praise God that it was people that had witnessed, and they were able to tell him then. I know that they made him do the line, the drunk people test, and he failed it and everything. But the fact that the man had not one scratch on him, and was just standing there. So he was standing there when I'm, a lot of people ask me like, oh my gosh, I bet you this, how did it affect you? And what I was very grateful for is that some people have those type of experiences and they be like, becomes their aha moment. They had this epiphany of life is not promised, tomorrow's not. I already knew that, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have no wake up call like that. It just reconfirmed what I already knew. You better seize the moment, enjoy your life, because I literally I thought that was it, and I was picturing, the funeral. I don't know, it just made me more eager to get things done that I had already been working on, you know what I mean? I really am here for a reason. Do you know how many people aren't as fortunate as I was, and it was, I was going through some post-traumatic stress right afterwards. It was times where I'm thinking like, why did this happen to me? But I had to check myself and quickly, why not me? Maybe the next person don't have the amount of faith that I have, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe the next person may have not been wearing their seatbelts. Like, I don't know, it just made me hungrier. By the grace of God, I didn't have any permanent damage. I just had, I had a huge hole in my mouth, some deep cuts in my nose, a lot of swelling, blood vessels that busted in my eyes, back and neck pain, but nothing permanent, So I was in the hospital. The hospital shows, right? You ever seen one hospital shows, or you watching it and you be kind of thinking like, they kind of being dramatic, because you see them cut people clothes off and stuff. They did that to me. They cut my panties off. But I had just got a Brazilian wax, so I was good. So they cut my panties off, and I had a Hebrew Brantley shirt on. And so I'm laying there, swollen, bleeding, all this different stuff. What was going through my mind is, they cut my Hebrew Brantley shirt. Because I'm thinking like, oh, that probably shouldn't be in my mind, but that's what I was thinking as I was laying down there and having my stuff cut off. But I got another shirt. So yeah, that's why my album is here for a reason.
Probably the hardest lesson that I had to learn, which was finding out that people who I looked at as my friends or who had my best interests, or, they were just really leeches.
He invited us to Paisley Park to watch him perform with just Prince and a piano. He sang Purple Rain, and it was so beautiful. I wept, everyone wept. It was this very special moment, but he was wearing these shoes. They were like these clear LA Gear, like high-heeled boots that lit up red every time he walked.
I really love the life that I get to live, and the sacrifices, all of that stuff, I love it. I acknowledge it. I learn from all of my mistakes, and I'm happy.
And I don't say my verse until it's completely done. I don't want nobody reading my verse, none of that. So the first time I got in the studio with 808 Mafia, they wasn't having it. They like, no, you finna get in the studio, get in the booth right now, freestyle.